gonna be money, and you're gonna have to accept it because you can't take money from me that I don't have. I'm just gotta, hey, can I send you an IOU? You know, I don't know what to do about that. But the reality is that, you know, I tell people this all the time that before I was doing this, when I wasn't undergrad, my reality is not unique. I wasn't undergrad because we were told to go to college. I was doing the thing, doing the work. I was interning at the Ohio Senate because we needed to get real jobs. I was doing the work. I was in undergrad, I was interning. I had 2 jobs. I was working at Amazon and I was working at Staples on the weekends. And I was still needing to go and donate plasma to get enough money to buy groceries. That's not a boo-hoo, woe is me story. That is a story of me, reality. My peers, my colleagues, my fellow students. I just spoke with a student where we still talk, and I'm very proud of her, but she had to take more than a year off. Almost the entire time that I spent working in the House of Representatives, she had to stop her education because she couldn't afford to go back. She couldn't pay what she owed. And so I was just like, that's the reality. My story's not unique. Don't feel bad for me. Recognize the reality that we are living in, you know. And even with that, our experience wasn't being told. Nobody was talking about what we were dealing with. In fact, we were actually being called spoiled and entitled, lazy. And so it was insult to injury. When you telling me when I got negative $200 in my bank account while working 2 jobs and giving my blood to get money, you're calling me lazy. And I'm doing everything my predecessors told me to. And again, my story was not unique.
I just came from that's why we're late. I'm on the board of our YMCA here in Heber. And today was a retreat for board members. And our biggest thing, how do we keep our members? How do we, you know, because people have to decide what they're gonna pay. And we offer, we're talking about our annual campaign and raising money. We supply so many scholarships for people that can't afford it, and in the different programs, and it's like there's 2 classes right now, the people that have expendable income and the rest of us who don't have that expendable income. And they're so far apart right now. There's no middle. It's here and there, and it's trying to figure that out. And so it's everywhere. What you see isn't just isolated. It is everywhere.
Yes, it is a generational experience.
Yeah.
That's how I like to look at it. It's like I have this experience as a millennial, and other millennials share in those you know, those worries, those anxieties, those struggles. And then I talk to Gen Z, you know, my little brother's Gen Z, and their worries are similar because they're entering the workforce and they're walking into it. I talked to my little brother recently, and what I found fascinating was that I had given up on the idea of owning a home. I had just given up. I was like, just start a home for $250,000, $300,000. It's not happening. I make $1,250. What are we doing? I'm not going to make enough. Like, what are we talking about? And what I found interesting was because I had given up on the idea of ever owning a home. My little brother never even got the idea. He never even thought that he was like, oh yeah, I'll own a home one day. He was like, no, we're just gonna rent. That's just what it is. And I thought that what a sad way to transfer from one generation to the next. What a sad reality to have to give to my little brother's generation, to say, I, at the very least, got to dream about having a house one day. He doesn't even get to have that dream.
Well, it is a reality.
Yeah.
The paradigm shift is, well, Dr. Fred came and said, the applications we see for apartment building in the city versus new home building. Unfortunately, in Heber, we have a lot of new home building still, but overall, this shift to apartments has nothing to do with less desire to have a home. It has affordability. 48 apartments came online at Reverb across the street from the Rose Music Center. Very nice. 44 were gone in 6 days. So it's the demand for, young people can't do it. My grandson is a firefighter. He's fortunate. He's hired on as a firefighter, going through the steps. there's no way he and his wife are gonna be able to afford a house anytime soon.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
You know, they're struggling to pay their bills right now.
Yeah. You're seeing that, as you mentioned, that gap before, the gap is widening.
It is.
And that's the crazy part about it, is because, again, you talk about the rhetoric that's used for our generation. You know, we're called entitled. Like, you think you're entitled to a home? I'm entitled to an affordable one, at least, right? If I'm working hard, I'm entitled to a wage.
That's
that
what
I
you
can
were
live
told.
off of.
That's
Like,
what you were
know,
told.
like, that's how bad it's gotten. The gap is widened so much, but then when the things that I'm asking for, I get called radical for. When I'm saying all we asked for was healthcare, that was it. All we asked for was a livable wage. That was it. We want to be able to live off of the money we make from giving our time, our lives away from our families and whatever and other responsibilities or our passions. We're giving it to this corporation to be rich and make billions of dollars. And again, if you want to make that, whatever, make that. But at the very least, it's not too much to ask that we get taken care of for the work that we're doing. We have become more than double productive. Like I think it's actually triple. You know, and the only wages that have reflected that growth and productivity of the average worker is CEO pay. Average workers rate went up maybe 1.5 times, but our productivity went up times 3. We've got more efficient. Yeah. Right. So that to me is like something is wrong, and you don't get to gaslight me and tell me that it's my fault that we're not making enough. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I was like, at the very least, I have a voice, and I have an obligation to use my voice to aid in this advocacy, saying like, at the very least, I'm not gonna sit down and let you continue to tell me that I just deserve this quality of life, that I deserve to not be paid a fair wage, that I deserve to. I've never been in a union. I've been an at-will employee my whole life, fired arbitrarily multiple times. That's something that my predecessors, I've talked to so many of my predecessors, were like, oh yeah, we're in this union. Like, are you pro-union? Yeah, I'm a pro-union from outside the club. That's because I've never had that experience. I can just be pro-union because I know what it means to be able to collectively bargain for fair treatment, fair wages, and fair protections. Because I know that that's how we got it.
That's how you got out of UCWA.
Yeah.
Which meant a lot.
Yes,
to me.
thank you.
I'm glad that even though having never been a part of a union, I've had unions very, very supportive of me. You know, and even Ohio Federation of Teachers and UAW. We just had a fantastic conversation. Like, and I'm very optimistic about where that's going to go. They were very enthusiastic, but I was honest with them. I'm like, I can't give you what do you know about unions? I can't give you the in-depth experience of what it is to be a union member. I can only imagine what it's like to be able to say, hey, listen, we aren't being treated this way. I got fired from a postal job one time. This was in Grove City. My mom didn't even know. But I was working at a post. It was a place where all we did was send people all the mail you don't want to get. That was it. And this was one of like my moments that radicalized me. You ever get those questions like, what radicalized you? This was the moment when they had us working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, for no increase in pay, no change in our benefits. And if we did not come in on one of those days, if we did a no-call, no-show, if we were sick, and they could terminate you. And I remember going in there one day, and one of the supervisors got mad at me for how I was packaging the mail. They were like, you don't do it that way, you do it this way. I said, well, this way is just more efficient for me. This way just works. It's smoother. I'm more comfortable doing it this way. We're still getting the packages out. And so they were like, well, if you don't do it that way, we're gonna let you go right now. And I was just like, on the spot like that? And so I immediately stopped what I was doing, and I had this moment where I was like, are we really about to accept this treatment? Like, who do you think you are to talk to us like this? I was like, you don't get to come here and make an example out of me. I said, I don't care if you're talking to me, if you're talking to anybody here. I was like, you don't get to treat us like this. We're in here busting our tails 7 days a week for you. You make more than us, you all right. We're not. And I was fired expeditiously. But I think the intent for me, when the people were kind of looking and I'm saying like, are we going to accept this? And the moment where they just kind of turned back to the computer. We're just like
zombies.
Yeah.
Because they had to have.
Yes,
I
yes.
had a job. I
yes.
wasn't upset with them for turning away. I wasn't upset with them for not taking my side out. They knew I was cooked. They knew I was that. Hey, he's fired right now. You know. And I think I kind of knew as well. But it was kind of a breaking point for me being in there. Where it's like every day we are in here from before the sun comes up to when the sun's going down. And this is the thanks that this is the appreciation, not a livable wage. We aren't getting paid enough to live, but you demand that we be grateful that we have a job. And so I think that kind of broke me a little bit, and just seeing the reality from everybody else in there who was packaging, accept the fact that it was like it's either this or nothing. I don't know. It's difficult to find a job, but we have one. So we are kind of in a position where we have to be grateful to have one because it's either this $12.50 an hour or it's $0 an hour.
And that's how they want you.
And that was
That's
kind
how
of-
they want you.
that's
Yeah,
an awareness that's building. And again, it's not unique to me. You know, there's a reason why people in my generation are starting to become activated because we are sick of it. But it's difficult to get out of that hopelessness that I saw when we were in that packing room. Oh God.
yeah.
Amazon, Amazon is probably the most hopeless. I mean, when I tell you, it's almost like something's in the air.
I don't shop.
Like the lights have a
Yeah.
hum. The lights have a hum. You go to sleep, and all you'll hear two things. When I used to go to sleep, I told myself I would never step foot. I don't care what it takes. I would never step foot in another Amazon warehouse for as long as I live, because there's two things I used to hear when I would go to sleep at night, because they would have you doing 12-hour shifts for your first like 3 to 6 months, and you would hear the beeping of the scanners. You need to scan 1,200 packages per hour.
Your quota.
Your quota.
Quota.
And if you did not make that quota, the manager was coming to see you.
Yep.
So you scanned 1,200 packages. You would hear it in your sleep. You would hear it in your sleep, and you would hear the whirring of the conveyor belt. And you would hear it day in and day out. And it would never leave you. You were never not working. I used to have dreams of standing over the conveyor belt, thinking I was at work just to get up and have to go to work. And I was just like that. That was when I told my mom I was suicidal.
Yes.
I told her, I was like, if this is my life, I don't
Yep.
want to live.
You know, it's interesting, my grandson did an internship from college at Amazon, and he was in IT, and part of it was to go to each department and do those things. And he got on the conveyor line, and he could only do like 600 and some. And he said, those people are treated like crap.
We were called inductors.
Well, and this is the same man who, excuse me for interrupting you.
No, please.
But you know, he said he wants his employees to wake up terrified, go to work terrified, and go home terrified. That's how he
Oh.
wants them to live.
He
And
said
is-
that?
Yes, and has now gone on record to say that water consumption by humans will have to be sacrificed for AI data sets.
So-
Wow.
And this is the type of person, and so
Bezos.
you have no idea how much I respect you for sticking to your integrity, sticking to your morals, and like, I am worth more than this.
Yeah.
I did 30 years in the General Motors factory. It was rough and working conditions were terrible. This is before the dawn of air conditioning factories. So working conditions terrible, noise, odor, chemicals, everything you can think of. What made it palatable, I was union representative and I made a very good wage
Yep.
doing that.
Yes.
Had excellent benefits.
Yep.
So because of that,
It was.
the
Yep.
work sucked, it was hard, but I made good money.
Yep.
I made what I was worth.
Mm.
And I think that's the biggest difference. I've talked to so many people who have worked at Amazon. They go there, they work 6 months, and they can't handle it.
Yeah.
Not only can't they handle it, but at the end of the week, when they get their paycheck, they can't buy anything. They can't make their car insurance payment that gets them to and from work. That's the inequity.
Yeah, that's
the-
inequity.
We talked about that. It was crazy because we would be in the Amazon, warehouse, and we would be talking about how much of our money was spent coming to work. Whether it be our gas, our car insurance, the food that we were spending money on break, the takeout because we were too tired to eat when we would come home, so we would pick up something on the way home. Maybe you get breakfast on the way to work. It was just how much time was dedicated, and that actually leads into one of my policies when it's just the paid work community. If I'm spending all of these resources coming to you, I'm on the clock when I leave my house. I don't care what you're talking about. I'm dedicating, my life is now spent focused on making you money. And so when I leave my house, when I walk out my door, I'm on the clock. You can know how far, you know, I am away from work. Pay me for that. I'm worth that much. You make amount of money that is incalculable. People don't understand the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. They don't understand how big that number is, and yet Elon Musk is a trillionaire. So I always do the exercise for people, and I tell them, I'm like, the difference between a million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 32 years. That's the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
So how do you feel your campaign is going? How do you feel you're being received?
By the community, I could not be more grateful by the way I've been embraced throughout our primary, in spite of our challenges and the way we were able to overcome them, and how far we've been able to get with how little we have.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's going to be a testament for anybody who wants to do what we've done, to give them hope that they can do it without the party blessing,
Yep.
without the machine backing them, without needing to comply or compromise on their morals or integrity for a check.
Yep.
We did it without it. You know, like even just getting this far to me means so much to me because we were able to do all of this without compromising an inch.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single inch.
Have you spoken to the Democratic Party yet about
Yes.
support?
Yep.
Who did you talk to?
I just talked to the leader probably like a couple days ago.
Jocelyn?
Oh, the Montgomery County Democratic Party they've been receptive to support. They've been putting out literature. They've been, we've been collaborating on how that support looks. As far as like financial support, I don't know what they got.
So is it District 39?
Yes.
Most of that's in Montgomery County, right? Because you're going across.
Yeah, just northern
70,
Montgomery County. Yeah.
Huber Heights, I'm gonna put that one first because the largest number of voters is probably Huber Heights.
Yes.
Vandalia, Harrison Township, Clayton.
Yes. Inglewood,
And part of
Clayton,
Dayton.
Butler Township, Northridge, and Fort McHenry.
And you said the Montgomery County Democratic Party is supporting you financially.
They don't have it.
Financially, they have not, but they have been supporting me in other ways. Like they've been trying to send out volunteers, cutting turf. They have a slate card, so they have been receptive to support. I think that they are trying to figure out what their fundraising looks like. But again, we're mid-August.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
Historically, the Democratic Party, Montgomery County, has not had any money.
The old Montgomery County Party, that was part of the establishment we had to break.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
And then as far as the state Democratic Party, if they give you money, they expect you to give it back.
Yes.
To support the top right.
Yeah.
It's a waste of
Hold on.
Yeah.
The state Democratic Party will give you money as long as you give it back.
As long as you give it back to the front runners in the race that they think are gonna win.
Yeah. She's absolutely right. They want to keep their money in-house.
So they might cut him a check. They might cut Daquan a check in October. But the gimmick of that is that if you don't win your campaign, or if you win if you don't win, because if you win, you get to just keep it to your next run.
Yeah.
But what they do is they want it back.
Yes.
So it would be sneaky for them to give it to him in October and say, yeah, we did support him, right? Because then if he wins, they still get their money back. They win either way because whatever's left over, you have to give it back to them.
Yeah.
So
And
that's-
whatever's left over, they want it back in dues and other forms and supporting other candidates. That they want to keep that money in-house.
That's why I don't give money to the Democratic.
Exactly. That's what I tell people. Give it to the candidate.
100%.
Yep.
Good to
I've
know.
never
Yes.
given
That's
money
good to
to
know.
the
Give it to the
party.
candidate.
I've always given it to the candidates. But
Yes.
in October, the last day to register to vote is like the 5th.
Exactly.
So the first day
So it does us no
for
good.
absentee or mail-in ballots is the 6th. So in October might be a little too late.
Exactly. That's our point.
That would be the intention.
That-
If I
yes.
spend that money, I have to give it back. So
Yeah.
if I win, they get to take credit saying that they invested in the race. If I lose, they want the money back.
Yes, sir. Now you're seeing the snakiness we're dealing with. You're seeing the snakiness. You're seeing the snakiness.
Dirtiest people think, yeah, like as dirty as
Shady.
politics, like as dirty as people think politics is, it's every bit of it. I mean,
Every
like,
bit.
We got to bear witness firsthand to the level of depravity that they will give way to when it comes in corruption that they will give way to when it comes to getting what they want. They don't. What I learned is that there was a higher priority on defeating me than
Yep.
defeating flipping a seat.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
just like, huh?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They do not like him.
Yeah. Oh, they can't stand me. Well, to be fair,
Why do you say that though? What?
they've never liked me.
Why not?
Because-
when I was a staffer, again, I was always in trouble. But I was always in trouble because one, I was trying to always do something. My presence here, she knew because
Was it good
she
trouble?
was there. Huh?
Was it good trouble?
Always.
Yes.
Yes.
It was always good trouble because, again, one of the times that I almost lost my job was because I reached out to Central State because I wanted to establish a pipeline. We have a preferential treatment in the State House, especially in the House, for Ohio State students. So they get kind of streamlined through the application process and get preferential treatment. I wanted that for Central State. And so we made that happen. We put that together. And what I did to kind of like get the ball going on that was I brought, these are other students who are now taking the same courses, same political science department that I was in. I was like, I want them to come down to the State House. We're giving them a tour and we're letting them meet some of their legislators, black legislators at that, so they know it's possible. And I remember bringing them down. I remember the work that we were doing to put it together. I remember how much hot water I was already in just setting it up. And I almost lost my job for that. I got put on confinement to my office. And I was basically told, you step out of line like that and yeah. I had worked for Representative Veronica Sims. And now this doesn't fall on her. This is more of the caucus as a body, like HR and the leadership. And but again, what I was told was legislative aides don't do that. You know your place. Do not do that. And so I kept stepping out of line. I kept going to protest. They're like, you don't go to protest unless we give you permission to go to protest. Because if somebody says something at that protest that we don't like or we don't agree with, it looks bad on your member. And I'm like, I don't care. My community's out here, they're outraged about something, they need to see us. I'm mad at you for not being there.
Right.
So regardless of what somebody might say, you scared about what your neighbors is gonna say at a thing when they're mad, I'm gonna need you to get over yourself. And so I stayed in trouble for those reasons because that was probably the most trouble I got into. I also got in trouble because they were having a meeting about our messaging on gerrymandering. And I said, quote, the Democratic Party's messaging on gerrymandering is piss poor. And I was like, and my thing was, excuse me for the language, but I wanted to use the most accurate language I could describe. Wasn't trying to take a jab, take a dig, but it was accurate. Messaging is bad, and I don't think you have enough people in here willing to tell you that. And I got in trouble for that too, because I guess I spoke out of line or something related to that. But I'm just like, again, if you're not willing to hear criticism of yourselves, you're not actually in here for the right reasons.
That's what's troubling when you think about a statewide level right now. They're Acton. But if Acton gets elected and we're not able to flip the seats like yours. I mean, yours is a Republican seat.
Yep.
We need to flip that.
Yes.
We need to flip about 6 others.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
6 seats.
If we want to do anything at all to grant her her veto power.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I guess I'm a little disappointed that I'm not hearing that on a statewide level.
Exactly.
Our party isn't out there
Yep.
put their nose to the grindstone and making it happen.
I think let that
We're
be a
too
reflection.
nice.
It's
We're afraid
yes, we are
to
afraid.
stand up for, I don't even want to say what's right. It's almost like we're afraid to say anything because of the repercussions or what people are going to think
Yes.
or we've got to be nice, we can't we can't say stuff like the Republicans say because, because we have to be the nice ones, we have to be the ones that are being safe and I'm tired of being safe.
Yeah, what did we say when she said we go high? When they go high, we go low. And I said, no, I'm going low with you.
I'm gonna meet you there.
I'm gonna meet you down there.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, the way that I move in this, I swing on you. Like that's the energy that we bring is like, I'm not scared of you. We're not on the back foot no more. So that's when I come out and I say, I'm unapologetically progressive. If you want to call me a Marxist, call me a leftist, call me whatever, I'm here to make sure your kids eat. What does that make you for not standing with me? So my thing is, I'm not on the back foot no more. We're not scared of you. We're not scared of this messaging. And that's where we disagree with the Democratic Party, is because they're so busy trying to be the safe guys, the middle of the road guys, the compromising guys.
And it's nationwide.
It's
nationwide.
It's
It's nationwide.
And that's
It's
why you
nationwide.
see the lack of support for candidates like Mamdani. I mean, look at how beloved Mamdani is in New York right now. You know,
Yeah.
and you think about that, it's like the Democratic Party still does not promote him.
Right.
They would not endorse him all the way up until the end, and they still don't talk about him. They don't platform him. And so when you think about those candidates that are well liked, you know, our ALCs, our Bernies, it's like they are seen as outliers, outsiders, and they're treated as such. And so I expected, I knew going into this, being progressive, being young, not coming from money, not being well connected. Oh, I was their worst nightmare. And I'm critical of you. You know, I tell my mom this all the time. I was like, I'm considered an agent of chaos in there. I'm coming in here with no good intentions. I'm flipping your table over. As soon as I'm coming in, and then we're gonna put it back up, but I gotta flip it over first.
Right.
Because you need it. I need to
Wake
shake
up.
you. I need you to shake you a little bit. So you're either with me or you're gonna get the hell out of my way. Because that's the level of anger that my neighborhood has. That's the level of anger my generation has from the lack of representation, the lack of advocacy. You know, and so that's really where that comes from. It's like we really have an obligation to, because it's so bad. Like, you want to think things could get worse? I don't want to see it get any worse than it is now. So if we start it here, if we start the advocacy, if we start here showing people what's possible, regardless of whether or not the party gets with it, if the community supports it, you're going to have to deal with it, or you're going to have to get lost. And so whether or not, even if you don't adapt, we're going to restructure what the Democratic Party looks like. We're going to make it to where I believe I am what a Democrat is supposed to be. But I have to identify saying I'm progressive because I need that separation from you. We are not establishment Dems, we're not traditional Dems. We're a whole different, this is what democracy is supposed to look like. This is what a Democrat is supposed to look like. Let me show you. And so I don't care really what it looks like going in there, but my end goal is to say, this is what the Democratic Party now looks like because of our efforts. Those things that we described, that gatekeeping, that status quo era of saying, well, you're gonna have to do things this. No. If we know what is working over here, if we know that people power politics, grassroots politics, universal issues that are across the board are working, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get with that. And they're gonna get with it, they're gonna get lost.
I mentioned unions a second ago. I think your message resonates with unions because you're on the same page there, because they're talking about exactly the same type of things. What are your shots at expanding out to like the public service unions, police and fire unions?
Tell them what just happened.
Yeah, I did try to connect with them. I did try to reach out to them. They I don't know. They don't seem to be in support of me, unfortunately.
What, the unions?
At least not the fire and police.
What about Ashley?
Yes, they have endorsed me.
Okay.
What about the IUE?
They have endorsed me.
Did they give you money?
Yes.
UCWA was
Yeah,
one of
because
the
they
first.
That was one of
Us.
the first. That was one I was really.
Yeah.
I think that was seeing that endorsement was really powerful, really impactful, because it kind of showed the other unions like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, let's
Let's take a look at him.
more into this. So just having that, you know, I think that's part of the reason why I had such a good conversation with UAW was because they mentioned IBCWA, you know, they mentioned ASU, they mentioned OFT, they mentioned all the organizations. They're like, okay, they endorsed you, huh? Okay. It's kind of like they're like, oh, all right, we're gonna take you seriously, guy. You know, even if that's the case, it meant something.
What about AAUP? You got two AAUP members in the room. You know, I ain't gonna point them out, the two professors. Have you reached out to them?
Not that he's coming.
I mean,
But my goal is if I haven't reached out to somebody, it means that I should. So
Is it AAUP or AARP? What is it? AAUP?
It's the American Association of University Professors.
Okay, so we,
Not the retired people.
I'll put it on my to-do list. Yeah.
It's the amount of candidate questionnaires, the amount of organizations that I personally
It's
made
been-
sure to reach out to.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just the teams reaching out. You're reaching out. You're hearing from me. You know?
Yes.
So I spent weeks
Yeah.
doing
Yes.
dozens and dozens and dozens. I mean, I would be on the phone with the team. We're having a team meeting, and then still here to clicking
Yeah.
on me filling out a candidate questionnaire
Yeah.
because it was like, you're not gonna get it if you don't reach out, if you don't try to contact them. Not every organization is gonna contact you. You can't just have that expectation. You gotta reach out and let people know, hey, I'm interested in having a conversation. Let's talk. And because of that, I think that it was because of those efforts that we've had the amount of endorsements and phone calls and positive reception that we have had thus far.
Have you contacted the Dayton Realtors?
I've spoken with the Dayton Realtors. I don't think that I actually sent them my candidate questionnaire, so I haven't heard back from them yet. So
You might want to follow up.
yeah, I followed up with a couple of them. Some of them have told me like they're doing like the screening process takes a while, or they're doing like our next chapter meetings next month. So we have heard from a few people. I think that part of my problem is that I reached out to so many people. I don't know who I followed up with because I was just like there was dozens, and I was like, okay, yeah, I followed up with you, didn't I? And sometimes I may not have. So that's kind of.
I think that this is so complicated because one of the things that people don't understand, and this is a great conversation, it's really making me emotional. I try not to be a crybaby. I am such a crybaby because our team has been so small. You know that. Like, we don't sleep. So this is something that this guy, all he does is do things that other people have teams to do. And I think one of the things that upsets me is, and you guys know, but the people that he runs against, they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing.
They're gonna do less.
And they
Wait and see.
and they do, but people still go out and vote, and it's like, if they're not even taking the time to even make efforts to have a web page that looks like something, to come out and speak to you, why are you voting for this person? They're telling you that I'm not putting no efforts in this, so why do you think they're going to put efforts in anything?
There's no way they would ever vote for a Democrat.
Yes, I heard that. Somebody said that to me when I knocked on the door today. And I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying. When you were talking about when you worked at the factory. One of the things about that is we could all remember being middle class if you had a postal job. You were middle class if you delivered trash, if you were the trash man. Because back in the day, it's like, oh, my dad is a trash man, and my mom is a teacher. You were middle class. You were middle class. Yes. And I was just like, why is it that now these kids are doing the same thing and they can't even make ends meet? Why aren't they still middle class? Because what they did is when they ushered us out, they kept the wages the same.
In
They-
6 months, you could save up for a down payment on your house.
Yes.
And have a house payment.
Yes.
that you could afford.
Yes. And I don't understand how more parents and grandparents are not outraged at this. How are we okay that this is what's happening to our kids? You know what I mean? Like, so I guess that's why I just think it's odd that people are voting for something that is literally tearing our kids up and tearing our grandkids up. We know, we worked, we had parents who were middle class with these jobs, and we're okay that our kids are out here struggling, and they have to move back in, and now we got to do family economics because you got two of your kids living in your basement because they can't survive.
That's what I had to do. I had to move back home with my family when, before I really did this, like, before I really committed myself, before I started working. And there was a period of time where I was like, I just can't. I couldn't graduate. I didn't have enough money to pay my last month's rent. So I was just like, I don't know how I'm even going to afford to go to school for my senior, like, this is my last semester. I graduate in May. And I had to leave. And like, it was like, I gotta go. I had to move home with my parents. And I think at the time, that was when I had negative $200 in the bank account. And I'm like, well, and every time, the craziest part was like every time an auto pay thing or an attempt was made to take out money for a bill that I had.
He'd be nervous.
There was no money.
Yep.
But they were still charging me. And then they were charging me the overdraft fee.
Yep.
Every single time
Yep.
someone tried to take money out that I didn't have,
Yes.
it's an extra $35. I had to call them and ask them to take the $400 of overdraft fees off of my account. And they were like, well, because this is the first time you've asked this year, we'll go ahead and waive it.
Wow.
You know, I'm just like that it's like you can't make this stuff up. I was like, and then again, to have to go and have conversations with my elders and my predecessors to call us entitled and lazy and spoiled, we're not working hard enough. And I was just like, that to me was like, that's a difficult bridge, you know, that's a difficult divide to overcome. But I will want to add to something that we were talking about earlier about, you know, what it looks like with the party. And the party is scared more than anything else. The party is scared of its own base. What I have learned is that the party establishment itself is scared of the people who want to vote Dem because of what they believe Dem voters are supposed to want, what it means to be a Democrat, that you're supposed to be advocating for healthcare, for human rights. You know, like, hey, maybe on the national level, let's not be pro-genocide. That would be cool, you know, like if we could just do the bare minimum to help people, expand social safety nets. We're not asking for a lot. And I think what I've learned is that the party itself on both the national and the state level is that they're afraid of their own base, but they're also jealous of the Republican Party base. They are jealous of a party that will vote for them regardless of if it hurts their
Of
own
how
self-interest.
bad they are.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if what
Yes.
you're voting for hurts you. They're, and I've noticed this because I keep getting calls about how are you trying to win over MAGA? How are you trying to win over those Republican voters? And I look at my list of voters and I'm like, you're gonna make me mad because you're worried about how I'm gonna try to bring these people on board when we have people who we're hemorrhaging voters in our party. We have people who are turning out fewer and fewer who are voted Democrat historically, and you're not going to engage them. You're more focused on trying to go engage with people who actively do not like you and have told you they don't like you and don't want to work with you, instead of trying to figure out how you can re-engage the people that you've lost. And when I learned that, I realized you don't want them back. You don't want the people you've lost. You want them because you want a base that will support you and vote blue no matter who. They do want that. And so I think that that's what I've learned, and that's why I really have said, you know, and stayed so strongly in my messaging of being progressive and separating myself from the establishments, because we have to give them that reason to be scared. Because you are scared of the reality of facing your own voters. You don't want to have to face the reality that your base of voters want change, and you don't want change. You don't want enough change. You want to return to normalcy. You want to, hey, let's get back to normal. We don't want normal. We want progress. And you're scared of that. So that's one thing that I have learned about the party right now, is that's why we have so much work to do, because they're actively trying to find out how to approach MAGA so they can convert MAGA into...
And that's never gonna happen.
Right,
It will never happen.
Never.
Absolutely never, man.
No, I have
The
to
most
talk to
critical
a
thing
couple
to
of
do
people.
about it.
You talk to them, you know, you might as well talk to that fireplace.
We need to eat this food.
Okay.
I'm working on a bowl of like Fruity Pebbles.
Ah.